Arceus was born from nothing, not even chaos. Arceus soon made Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. Dialga created time, Palkia created space, and Giratina created antimatter, and thus the universe was born. Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina began battling, and as a result, were banished to their own individual realms by Arceus. Arceus then created Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza. Groudon formed the huge celestial bodies known as planets, and the trio chose one to inhabit with life. Arceus created the sun, then shot off across the universe to create all the many stars. But he had learned from experience, so he tasked Rayquaza as the peacekeeper. The trio sent to work, with Groudon rising land violently, creating volcanoes and mountains, Kyogre creating the seas where the land was not, and Rayquaza making the atmosphere full of air. Sure enough, Kyogre's water started to corrode Groudon's land, and this angered him. The two battled, but Rayquaza broke it up and sent Groudon deep underground, while Kyogre was sent deep into the ocean before returning out into the ozone layer. Soon Arceus returned and it tried to make life, but failed miserably, so created Regigigas. Regigigas moved the continents with his bare hands, piecing them together like a puzzle. When the final chunk of land was put into place, the world sprung to life. With grass and trees sprouting everywhere, finally the world was ready for life. Arceus set Regigigas into a coma, until it was needed once more. He then created thousands of Pokemon to inhabit the world. These Pokemon belong to one of 5 races: Celebi, Jirachi, Mew, Manaphy, and Victini. He also created Latios and Latias, his personal assistants, who he sent flying through the universe in search of species with great intelligence to live in harmony with his creators, before leaving once more to regain energy. After much searching, Latios and Latias found an intelligent alien species known as Deoxys. They were bacterial but advanced. They chose a few of them to bring back to their world. For a while, things were fine. The Deoxys and Natafees lived together in harmony, until the Deoxyses discovered that they could infect the Natafees. Suddenly, they were all infecting a host, and then war broke out. The Mew, Jirachi, Manaphy, Celebi, and Victini battling their infected brethren to send them free, and the Deoxys seeking total dominance. The war raged on for many centuries, until there was but a handful left of species. Arceus returned and destroyed the last of the Deoxyses, but the damage was done. The population of the world was little more than 20. The Celebi returned to its forests, hiding among the trees, but also in time. The Manaphy returned to the seas, the Jirachi fell asleep, only waking up every so often, and the Victini hid in far-off lands. This only left Mew. During the war, 3 Mew had hidden under lakes in search of enlightenment, leaving only a handful of Mew left to roam. They were alone. The war had left the land in ruins. Some places were battle-scarred beyond repair. Instead of lush grass, there was harsh deserts. This angered Groudon, sending him into a rage. Volcanoes spurted and spewed lava everywhere. One day, a Mew was floating along when a sudden flow of lava approached it. Thinking quickly, Mew unleashed energy into it that even Arceus didn't know about. It morphed the lava into a form, and it gave it life. The first Heatran was created. Arceus sensed this and had an idea. Gathering all the Mew, he immunes power through them, using their life-giving abilities to create more living creatures. They were crude and unfinished prototypes of what to come. Aerodactyl filled the skies, Lileep, Cranidos, and Shieldon roamed the lands, and Ampharos, Ammonite, and Kabuto populated the seas. Arceus also bestowed upon most of these beings the power to evolve into more powerful creatures if the current environment was met. Finally, Latios and Latias returned once more. They had been far more through in their searching than before, however. Arceus had told them to stop, but guilt kept them going. They were determined to complete their job. They brought humans from another planet, basic but intelligent beings who definitely lacked the ability to infect anything. The humans settled in quickly, living relatively separately from the animals at first. But Arceus wasn't convinced. He felt the need to test them. First, Arceus created Articuno, who he ordered to send the planet into an ice age. Articuno froze the planet, killing many of the creatures, but gave birth to new ones like Mamoswine. Much to Arceus' pleasure, the humans adapted, creating structures out of ice and snow. The severe drop in temperature awoke Regigigas, who rose high above the land and saw what was happening. The humans instantly fell in love with it, worshipping the Titan and creating statues of it from ice. Regigigas was touched by this, so it found one of the statues and breathed life into it before returning to sleep. However, this scared the humans and they locked it away in a cave. Realizing that the Ice Age did not affect the humans, Arceus created another bird, Moltres, and ordered it to send the world into a drought. The ice melted and the water evaporated as the temperature rose higher and higher. While the humans continued to adapt, using the skills they had learned with the ice, using them on rock. The creatures weren't as lucky. The mammal swines and other creatures that adapted to the cold died off, but new ones such as huge insects like Yamanga became common. Once again, the drought awoke Regigigas, who once again saw a statue of himself and thinking the humans would have learned from the last time and gave it life. But rumors of the living statue had been passed down for many generations since the last time, and once again, the scared humans locked it away. When the drought finally wore off, Arceus began the third and final test. He created one more legendary bird, Zapdos. Zapdos created powerful electrical storms all across the land. The storms killed off the last of the prototype creatures, leaving only the humans and the few pets they brought from their land. One extremely intelligent man managed to harness the electricity's power, creating the first electrical device. Of course, Regigigas awoke one final time. He discovered the humans far more evolved than expected, able to harness metals and electricity, be it as a somewhat primitive level, more out of the tradition than anything else. Regigigas created the third Regi out of steel. The humans were no longer scared of this Regi, but they sealed it away with the other two nonetheless, knowing one day someone powerful enough would tame them. Arceus was baffled. The humans had passed all three tests of the harsh weather. Zapdos calmed the storms, and the world became peaceful once again. Arceus herded the Mew together for a second time. He had learned the strengths and weaknesses of his prototype beings, and was ready to go further. Honing his huge power through the small pink beings, Arceus filled the world with hundreds of species of creatures that had become known as Pokémon. They were more diverse than he ever imagined, filling the skies, land, and sea. The life energies even reacted with the sun rays and moonlight, creating Ho-Oh and Lugia. Some reacted as the planet's moon, creating a population of Clefairy, as well as some Cresselia on the light side and Darkia on the dark side of the moon. Lugia befriended the three elemental birds, and they followed him like a leader. Meanwhile, the humans started to get closer to these new creatures, using them as slaves, weapons, or pets. The term Pokémon arose from strange travelers and stuff. The first Pokéball was created from apricorns, and the bond between human and Pokémon was complete. Ho took resistance at the top of the bell tower. He was jealous of Lugia's trio of birds, and wanted one of its own. One day, 3 Komodo girls entered its tower, with a Jolteon, Flareon, and Vaporeon. Ho burnt down the tower with his sacred fire. Most escaped, but the 3 Pokemon were trapped and perished in his flames. Ho soon resurrected them as Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. Humans continued to evolve and take over the land, and many continued to work alongside him for them for many, many years. And this is the story of the Pokemon world.